All right, in this video, we're going to be covering the top 5 units in Etheria Restart, so you guys get a good grasp on what some of the best units look like in this game. Now, to no one's surprise, the top 5 are SSRs. However, there are a lot of good SR units like Sonya, Insane in PvP, Dorothy the Wisher, Chiaki the Echo, right? Even and especially Viper, right? Where's Viper? Where is Viper? Why can't I? There we go. So a lot of good SR units. However, I want to cover the best of the best. Now, before we get into this, I will be streaming the Etheria Restart launch. So pull up to that. It's going to be in the live section. You could just turn on notifications if you want to be there. And if you can't, then still, I would greatly appreciate a like on the video at the very least. Now, if you do want to get into the beta and you still have no idea, because I had some questions about this, all you really have to do is register, put in your email, and with it, you're going to be able to get into the beta, right? You need that email, and it's going to give you a slot for the beta. Now, essentially, it's a like semi-closed beta, how they described it, to where there's enough slots for everyone to get in, but there is only a certain amount of slots. So maybe if it gets way bigger than people think, there won't be enough space, but there should be. So just sign up on the site, and you'll be good. Now then, let's get into the top 5. This isn't really going to be in a complete, like, order, but we could definitely say when I say Tiamat is number 1, that people would probably agree with this. Okay, so Tiamat will find herself to be very good in a lot of different content. Okay, a lot of different content, and let's talk about the reasons why. So she doesn't really have any cons. The only thing is, like, maybe sometimes Hoyen could one-tap her with the defense shred, and maybe Messiah, but like that's very like small cases if we're being completely honest. Now for her, essentially how she works is whenever she takes enough damage or heals enough, she gains a stack of bloodshed. Now with this stack of bloodshed, after 8, she goes into the ultimate form and then she spams this move, which is then gonna make her do a lot of damage and then also heal, right? Which is really strong because this is AoE. So it's gonna be very hard to kill her because she's doing AoE damage, and then she's healing 20% of the damage dealt, which in some cases could probably be close to full heals every single turn, right? Until she doesn't have any stacks left, which probably, if you get to 8, I mean, like, you'd probably lose that after a couple of turns. Now, that's not the only reason. Like, her damage is good, her tankiness is good. Now, the main thing is that, like, her skill 2 is also fucking silly. Healing over time and a shield is a very good combo. And then it could be a very high shield. And because she's scaling off of HP, right, with her max HP, her being built on HP and doing damage off of HP allows her to be tanky and then also still be a very strong damaging unit and then still have good utility, right? So she's going to work kind of everywhere. The guides are not up yet, but Doki Doki is the first boss you're kind of going to want to farm, and Tiamat is going to work extremely well in there, but then also be one of the best units in PvP to the point where she's probably going to be banned every single PvP match. Her taunt is just super good. And then, like, her skill 2, and even the skill 1, man, like, her whole kit's good. She does good damage. She supports everyone to make sure, like, it's very hard to kill everyone. And she taunts. It's like she's just is overall a very good unit for both PvP and PvE. Now, the second unit that we're going to talk about is Hinrich. Hinrich is what you could say, like, just, I would argue, like, either number 1 or number 2, okay? Personally, I like Hinrich over Tiamat, but I know both of them will be a lot of fun. How this boy works is basically whenever he attacks, he has a 50% chance to dispel a buff. However, if there's no buffs, it's crazy. He's going to apply a last word debuff for 3 turns. And this is going to give crit damage and crit rate increase. So essentially on the enemy, you are going to be, well, it's 7% increased crit damage and 7% increased chance to crit up to 28%. And let's just say this is going to be very good. Okay, especially, like, I'm just, like, throwing this out there with Rosa. Rosa increases crit rate, right, by 30%, and then also needs to crit for her skill 1 to reduce turn meter. And considering that also for the speed minus, right, considering Hinrich is increasing crit rate and crit damage, it's going to be very good to pair these two together. Because, you know, like, if Hinrich crits the enemy, and then afterwards, Rosa is going to be able to do a follow-up attack. And then if she crits because of the debuffs, well, then even better, right? So it's going to be very nice. I'm not really going to get into Rosa's kit too much, but I do like those two as a pairing, in my opinion. Now, that's not where it ends, because on his ult, he does AoE, 300% total. And then he could block. He puts a 2-turn AoE block with 65% chance, which buffs blocks all buffs, including even barriers. Insane shit. Now, however, one thing to really keep in mind is every stack of last word increases. Bro, this is crazy. It increases the skill's crit damage by 30%. So not only could you get up to an extra 28% crit rate, you're going to get up to an extra 120% crit damage. So yeah, it's going to be very good. And then the skill 2 also could make it so that the enemy doesn't receive healing. Now, this is also 3 AoE attacks, which means you could apply the last words multiple times. And this last word is going to be very good. Now, considering that he is dark, this is why he's so good. There's nothing he's really type disadvantaging besides like literally how many units. Like, this is it, right? But for bosses right now, the 3 bosses are not light and dark. So Hinrich is going to work very well versus the PVE bosses, right? And also very good in PvP because his damage is going to be very good. He's going to apply very good debuffs, especially for some of the newer units, and then work with someone like Freya, right? Freya also one of the best units that we are talking about in this video. Little spoiler. She needs debuffs, and Hinrich could apply many with the wound. Well, like with the wound, and then also last words on the same attack. 3 AoE attacks here. It's going to be pretty good, right? I just think Hinrich's amazing. His buff block and buff strip, while also doing good damage and applying the crit rate and crit damage boost for your team, is going to make him very good alongside his disorder element, kind of synthesizing the kit in a pretty good way. Now, a lot of people have been buzzing about, oh, she's blue, right? Yeah, about Tsukiyo Mi, with arguably the worst name in the game. Like, it's not Tsukiyo Mi, it's Tsukiyo Mi. I don't know what they were on, but A is what it is. Why is she so good? It's her ult. This ult gives whoever the selected ally is an extra turn, right? It's 100% turn meter to the ally that they select, and then she gets an extra to 35% turn meter, but that's not where it ends. If it ended there, we could probably say it's still a good skill. However, she's still putting attack and speed boost, right? 40% attack, 30% speed. Now, why this speed is extremely strong is for a couple of reasons. Because now the unit you select, if it is the DPS, for example, an attack DPS, well, she gives 100% turn meter, she gets the speed, and her own turn meter increases, and then she's going to be able to more quickly apply this skill 2 and give the ally another attack extremely quick that's also boosted with the attack, right? And this is why it's going to be extremely good. This combo of increasing the ally's turn meter alongside increasing the ally's turn meter on the skill 1 is very strong. And then why not put a silence on the skill 2 AoE and also reduce skill cooldown? So her kit's going to be very good for PvP. I would say she is going to be one of the top picks for PvP, probably even to ban. But I would definitely say that also in PvE she works well because giving the extra turns is going to be nice, and also she is blue, so good doki doki, and then also for the attack and speed boost is going to be just gigantic overall. So yeah, I would definitely say Tsukiyo Mi is somewhere in the 3 to 5 range. I'm not here to rank. Like, I would say Hinrich, Tiamat are number 1 and 2, but the other 3, next one being Lily, you could rank wherever. Now, something I do want to mention, LD units, light dark, are on their own banner, right? So it's going to be much harder to get them because it is, what, 300 per currency, per poll, I think. I don't know if they mention it, but I'm like pretty sure it is 300 per currency. And that's 3 times the normal amount, but it only has light and dark units. So that is something pretty important to like mention. But it is going to be a bit annoying to get these light dark units. So I'm not saying it's the most free to play friendly, but I'm just saying these are just objectively the best. So why is Lily good? Well, essentially on the skill 2, she's going to be able to select an ally to get Twin Trick. Now, Twin Trick will be quite good because every time Lily does an action, it's going to also increase the person who has Twin Trick's turn meter by 30% on one person, only one. Now, this is going to be very good due to, well, a couple reasons, because it's Twin Trick for an extra 30% alongside a speed boost, right? Which is going to be very good, right? Now, unfortunately, I guess the person that has Twin Trick does get crit damage instead, but I mean, shit, they're still getting enough turn meter from the passive itself. Now, what I really like is her ult. That's going to be an AoE extension for 55% on the skill cooldowns by 1 turn. But the biggest thing is this. So she's able to reset all skill cooldowns for the ally with Twin Trick, which is going to be ginormous, okay? And the main reason is just kind of how it works in unison, because she's able to apply speed boost. She's able to give extra mobility, or turn meter. And this turn meter is going to work very well because Lily goes, she ults, she resets skill cooldown, probably right after they ulted. And then they're going to get an even quicker turn, right? Which is going to be very good. And then even her skill 1's pretty good because she could give 20% turn meter to her and the ally with the lowest turn meter, right? And also assist. So it's like overall very good. But I really do like her ult in combination with the skill 2/passive. So yeah, no. Lily's going to be very good. And of course, guess what, guys? She's dark. And dark, no type disadvantage in PvE for the big bosses. So that's another very important thing. Now, the last unit, which I think I have at 3 in my head. Like, I'm really feeling Freya. And the main reason is this. So she's able to apply debuffs and buffs, which is very important, right? Tsukiyo Mi was mainly buffs except for silence. However, it's really an equal amount, right? You could, like, unless you have a cleanse unit, debuff immune unit, and also a block unit, like, which you won't, right? Freya is always going to have a part of her kit active. Essentially, anytime any buff goes through on an ally, or anytime a debuff goes through on an enemy, the enemy or ally that receives the buff/debuff is going to get 4% turn meter increase or decrease. So, apply an AoE buff, extra 4% turn meter, right? Apply 3 buffs, extra 12% turn meter, because it happens up to 3 times. Now, the biggest thing is when Freya herself does the buffs or debuffs, it's going to go and double itself up to 24%, which is a fucking fourth of their gauge, which is absolutely insane. And the pushback is going to be very strong. Now, however, the buffs themselves are very good. She is a cleansing unit. 3 stacks of Dreamweave could be applied at once, and that's going to be 3 like cleansing, right? And then at the same time in the skill she also gives a defense increase. Then the ult, why not? So it's either like skill 2 is more for defense, like you get defense increase and you can't get debuffed, right? Which is great. Now the ult, the ult is stupid, and let me explain why. You could stack the nightmares, right? And there's 4 hits here. So yes, it's only a 30% chance, but you have 4 times to do it. And remember, every time you apply debuff, you lower their turn meter by 8% because it is Freya doing it. It's by 8%. And then of course you're applying nightmare and attack increase, which is a very good combo because you get extra attack and then you make them take more damage, and then the allies also heal the damage they do by 15%. So it's a very nice kit where she's going to increase your tankiness, give you debuff cleanse, make you do more damage, heal you, and then also be a turn gauge manipulator, which is just very important because of how strong it is, considering she has this could literally, guys, it could literally just give you 24% immediately because there's 1 buff here, a 2nd buff here, and then this one has an 80% chance to proc AoE, which means you could apply 3 buffs. And remember, when it's Freya applying the buff or debuff, it doubles, which means it's going to go up to 24%, which means you could literally off the rip just get a 24% turn meter increase, which is going to be insane as we go on into the battles. And then the ult obviously could do the same thing, but even better if you think about it. She's going to give 8% turn meter to all allies, and then she has a chance to lower up to 24% their turn meter on the enemies, which could make a big difference, right? Which is why she's so good in PvP, but also very good in PvE due to how she works with the defense and attack increase and the pretty good debuff overall, letting you heal. Like, she's really doing everything, which is very nice. The only thing she doesn't really have is like a CC, right? She doesn't really have a crowd control, but like that's literally it, right? So that's why Freya is very good, and that kind of makes the top 5 units. Let me know, out of the 5, who are you most excited to actually get your hands on? Even if it takes 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, let me know which unit you think is absolutely goated. Thank you for watching the video. Like if you're new, and subscribe. See you in the next one. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.